Hey everyone, what is going on? So we're actually looking at more Tempest PvP battles, of course. What else is new, right? So yeah, trying to figure out how can we beat this Tropius. Now, of course, my original thought was ice type attacks, and ice moves are obviously not bad against Tropius. I mean, it's going to knock it out, but at the same time, Tropius is not bad against ice types to use either, because that Razor Leaf is going to be doing a lot of damage, even if it's neutral to it. I mean, Pallaswine was actually weak to Tropius, so not the best ice type, but even if it was like a Glalie or something, it would still be doing a good amount of damage because Razor Leaf is so powerful and that Tropius is so tanky, so it can't really take ice type attacks that well, but it could still hang on enough to be able to do a lot of damage to an ice type Pokemon. So ice Pokemon, not a bad way to go, but those are not the only counters to Tropius, but I actually did attempt to use the Pallaswine in this one. So anyway, had my Lapras for the last battle, or for my last Pokemon, and he does have his Lantern. I'm going to go ahead and block this Thunderbolt because that would have taken a good chunk out of my Lapras, and he's going to bring in his final Pokemon, which is a Whiscash, so it's kind of like, ooh, I wonder who's going to win. I mean, it could go either way. I do get off my Ice Beam. It's neutral, doing a decent amount of damage, nothing crazy. Mud Bomb not doing anything to me. I knew he had Mud Bomb and Blizzard on his Whiscash, so I knew basically that I had this game as long as I could get another Ice Beam, and we do go ahead and get another Ice Beam, so that's going to seal down the match. That's going to win it for us, so we do go ahead and take victory number 1. But anyway, Pallaswine really not doing anything, especially since we're weak, because we're pot ground to Tropius. So I decided to jump into another battle against him with Glalie, I believe I used. Anyway, starting off with my Lapras. I didn't expect him to lead with Tropius this time, but yeah, I do have my Glalie. As you can see, it's doing good damage to it, but also, I mean, that Razor Leaf on Tropius can do good damage to Glalie, or you could switch out like he did. He switches out to Charizard, and I do go ahead and block that Dragon Claw. We go ahead and get off an Avalanche, and I was debating if he would block this or not. He decides not to block it. I thought that he would have, but no, he doesn't. Anyway, Glalie is knocked out. We bring out Altaria, and that is the Tropius Slayer, in my opinion. Leaf Blade, Razor Leaf, Altaria resisted, and Altaria has a huge amount of bulk, so Altaria, fantastic Pokemon to go up against a Tropius. So if you're wondering, how am I going to beat Tropius? I don't have it, you know, I wasn't able to trade for it, but somebody in your local tournament was able to trade for it. I think Altaria is definitely a good way to go in order to combat it. I think it's better than using like an ice type, like Pallaswine or like Glalie, or even like Lapras. Lapras wouldn't be, I mean, Lapras is good with Ice Shot and Ice Beam. It's just Tropius is still going to do a lot of damage to it because it's also water type, so it is weak to that Razor Leaf. But yeah, Altaria absolutely destroys Tropius, and again, beginning Altaria versus his Tropius, so you probably don't want to necessarily lead with Altaria because you do want to save it just in case they have their Tropius in the back and you need to bring it with you. Yeah, you need to bring it to be able to handle Tropius. You don't want it to get knocked out, right? So you want to save it for Tropius because Tropius is going to be hard to defeat. It really is because it has a lot of bulk to it. Anyway, Razor Leaf is going to be able to take out his Pokemon. Charizard is going to be able to take out my Abomastar though really quick. Charizard is another good counter because Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade, Charizard resist, you know, so not really going to be doing much to Charizard at all. So definitely another good way to go. So Charizard and Altaria, better than ice Pokemon to use against Tropius, in my opinion. Now, it doesn't mean ice is bad. You know, Glalie doing a lot of damage to Tropius. Tropius also doing a lot of damage to Glalie, so it's kind of like even, I guess, in a way. You know, Glalie probably has a little bit of an advantage, but it's still going to take a lot of damage. But now we do have Blast Burn going off from my Charizard. That is going to be able to knock out his Tropius. So yeah, Tropius, a really good Pokemon, and it's a Pokemon if you have it, like maybe you're native to where it is, so you have it, or maybe you just traded for it and you have it, right? I mean, it's definitely a good Pokemon to use, and if I had one, personally, I would use it. So I'm not saying don't use it, but it's not unbeatable. It is good, but you could definitely counter it. So yeah, I would bring it if you have it, but you could also, there's also ways around it as well. You don't necessarily need it because, like, I wasn't super confident in this particular cup, I guess because I didn't have the Tropius, I didn't have the Legacy Lapras. I still have Legacy Lapras now. I mean, I do have it now, but only Ice Beam. I don't have Ice Shard, so I'm still debating if I'm going with Lapras. That's still good, but we'll see. I'm still going over my finalized team, which will be this week, by the way. Probably not tomorrow's video, maybe the day after, I don't know. Definitely will have my finalized team But yeah, anyway, we knock out his Celio. He brings in Tropius, and Tropius actually does knock out our Altaria because of how weak we are. But now I bring in Charizard, and I know he can't do anything to Charizard. We have shields up. He goes ahead and uses Leaf Blade. I do go ahead and activate that Dragon Claw because I knew he would think it was a Blast Burn, and I wanted to take one of his shields. He still has another shield. We do the same thing, use Dragon Claw. Of course, he's going to give up that last shield, but at this point, it doesn't matter because even if he knocks out our Charizard, well, actually, no, that was our last Pokemon. Never mind. He would have won if he knocked out Charizard. But, yeah, so we go ahead and pick up that win. After, you know, I did beat him every game. I think we played, what is it, 8 battles? And I beat him every game. And he was like, all right, back to the drawing board. And, you know, he's planning on different Pokemon. You know, because he's like, yeah, my Tropius can't really compete against Pokemon like Altaria and like Charizard. So he's thinking about going in with, like, Steelix and Alolan Graveler or whatnot to be able to counter, like, Charizard and Altaria and other Pokemon that could do well against those. So his Tropius can also shine as well. So you need other Pokemon alongside, you know, a powerful Pokemon. It's not just going to be the Tropius that's going to be able to carry you all the way, even though it is a good Pokemon, you know. But, yeah, it is beatable, basically. But anyway, we bring in Lantern, and that Water Gun is just going to go to town on Steelix. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. Crunch not doing a lot to us. I'm really, really liking this Lantern. I do decide to go ahead just to keep my Lantern relatively healthy, and we do go ahead and knock out Steelix. Now we're going to be able to get off a fresh Thunderbolt, and he is going to go ahead and block that, of course, but we have another Thunderbolt ready to go, and he is going to not block that because he can't, because he's out of shields, and that's going to easily knock out Charizard. So, yeah, feeling a little bit more confident. I wasn't super confident, as I said, in this cup. I felt more confident in the Twilight and the Boulder Cups, but this one, just because I was kind of restricted on some of the Pokemon I wanted to use, as I mentioned, Tropius and Legacy Lapras, but it's okay because you can still make other Pokemon work even if you don't have the necessary Pokemon that you want to use. But anyway, he goes ahead, uses a Thunderbolt on my Altaria. I do go ahead and block that because it is neutral. Would have done a pretty good amount of damage to my Altaria. We do go ahead and knock out his Lantern. He brings in Celio. Now, just because Altaria is good against Tropius doesn't mean Altaria doesn't have weaknesses or counters. It certainly does, but it's still a good Pokemon. We actually managed to get off another Sky Attack. I wasn't, you know, believing that I would be able to. I didn't think I would be able to, but we do. Anyway, Alolan Graveler, we're going to be able to do more damage to him than he does to us. That Body Slam not doing anything to us. We get off a Rock Blast, and my finger slips, so, you know, as I was tapping it, we didn't get, like, the 3 circles or even 2 circles, but that's okay because he's low enough that it knocked him out anyway, so not a big deal. We bring in Charizard, and of course Charizard is going to be able to wall Tropius nice. I mean, he still did a decent amount of damage to us, being that we resisted Razor Leaf, but that's just because Charizard isn't the most tanky Pokemon. It's actually a frail Pokemon. That's why I prefer Altaria as a good counter over Charizard to Tropius. But anyway, beginning with Altaria, he begins with his Tropius, and he's going to recall Tropius into Wish Cache, and yeah, Altaria is just doing a lot with that Dragon Breath. I decided to stay in. Going to go ahead, block that Blizzard, because I was kind of predicting Blizzard. I was like, I don't want to, you know, call the wrong prediction and expect Mud Bomb. No, I actually predicted Blizzard, and it was Blizzard, so I do go ahead and block that. I call it correctly, and he brings in his Charizard. I use a Sky Attack, and he's going to go ahead and block that. Would have done a good amount of damage, almost knocked Charizard out if he didn't block it, so right play to block it. But anyway, Dragon, yeah, we do go ahead and get Sky Attack off, and that's going to knock out Charizard, and now he's down to Tropius, and we're still at a pretty good amount of health to be able to do a lot of damage to Tropius. Actually getting a Sky Attack off, super effective against Tropius. That doesn't knock it out just because Tropius is so bulky. He gets off an Aerial Ace. You could see how much damage that did to us, not much. You know, it would have done more to Charizard. We actually sweep his team with Altaria, so yes, the moveset you do want for Tropius is Razor Leaf as the fast move, and then you want Aerial Ace and Leaf Blade, but it can be countered, so, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It's still good, right? I mean, you should still use it if you have it. I think it's a really good Pokemon, but Alolan Graveler against his now Tropius, getting off that Rock Blast would have done a lot of damage. Of course, you guys know I'm going to have to pull the switch. I pull it right into Charizard because Charizard, as I said, is a good counter. Do go ahead and activate that Dragon Claw, hoping he would use a shield, and he does. And he actually gets off his move. I block it, expecting Aerial Ace as it was, but I still decided to block it anyway because it would have done a more damage than it did to Alteria, but we actually knock out Tropius, and he's going to go ahead and bring in his Lantern. So yeah, Lantern is a good counter to Charizard because we're not doing much to that Lantern. It's really tanky Pokemon. I didn't realize how bulky Lantern was, but it actually is. But anyway, Charizard faints to that Water Gun. We're going to bring in Alteria, and Alteria is going to go ahead and block this Thunderbolt because that would have done a decent amount of damage to Alteria, being that it's neutral. We do go ahead, knock out his Pokemon. He's going to bring in Celio, and now I knew that we basically had the game because Body Slam, it charges fast, but it's not going to do a lot to us. We go ahead, get off that Dragon Pulse, and that is going to knock out Celio, and that's going to conclude this game and this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my latest video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. If you like this video, click on one of the links to check out another one of my videos that you'll probably enjoy.